Teams are in, Roy. It's time to get with the program, bro. Let's go. It's Blamthrax. On this Weaver, he's still going with this. Like, you know, this, I mean, it seems to be working, right? This slightly different build. Typically, when you play Fire Weaver, of course, you are playing with sword focus, not with the dagger. If you're playing dagger, you're typically playing a power build lightning rod, but that is not what Blam is going for. Instead, he goes for the dagger there with the earth shield. I believe the reasoning behind this is to basically make it as useful in the team fight as possible. So, you know, using stuff like the tornado, giving the earth shield to pressured teammates like Vibrian, Stern, or Rip, having loads of AoE CC with the dagger, right? Like plenty of cleave damage there as well. Of course, the Fireweaver, generic Fireweaver, can provide a good amount of DPS in that regard as well. Lots of area of effect burning and solid crowd control abilities, but this is currently the favored strategy of Blamthrax, enjoying the mudslide gaming, the grinding stones, the DPS is there. So this is what it comes down to. I believe we actually did see the serial killers win on this map first into this very team. However, I believe last time it was actually Pain going with Revenant, but this time he is going to be on the SC Thief. Yeah, he wants to actually get some really big punishes here as well. This is going to be a serious threat for the serial killer. I think this build seriously pumps. It is going to shred through the Guardian, the Revenant, the Mirage, and even the Weaver. To be honest, will have no mercy from the SD Daredevil. Deadly Arts, Trickery, and Daredevil coming through here. Sword, Dagger, of course, with the short bow. This is going to be quite the enemy for the serial killers to deal with. And it's actually Rune of Infiltration there as well. 10% damage to enemies below 50%, and you gain Vigor while entering Stealth for even more uptime there as well. All right, here we go. Already we see Pain looking to intercept the serial killers on the right. Wait, is Roy gone? Or are you here?
No, I'm right here.
Okay, I was wondering, you know, I saw a sad face.
Absolutely.
I just saw a sad face, and I was like, wait, no, is he gone again? Is he DC'd? Is the DDoS kicking in? But never mind that.
No DDoS here. It's game number 1 on Kylo. Pain already leaving. You're going to go for the decap of Windmill. Blam, though, is going to be able to be there in time to prevent that and blink in there. So no sneaky decap for Pain, but he's already back in the fight. Blam will now be forced to stay a little bit longer. So Pain doing a nice job of just keeping this fight slightly more in his team's favor. But Rip is going to be able to do a good job of getting the decap down onto Mansion. And Blue team unable to leverage any sort of advantage from Pain's rotation so far. He is holding a 1 versus 2 for a moment, though, over at the Mansion, just to contest that for a minute. And so far, not really going to be able to gain too much from that. But it does mean that there'll be less players onto the middle node here from Red, from the serial killers, and Prototype is pretty low. Still, though, they're doing a nice job of just slowly creeping into this map and holding on to these points. And Blue team not able to find a way in.
Yeah, I actually really like what the serial killers are doing here. Like, this seems to be the way their comp works. Right, they're doing a great job of, you know, again, like road blocking with the Necro and Stern, and Blam being super annoying too, right? Like, he's using the Earth Shield, just standing on the point there, tanking it up there, they're trading places. This seems to be what's very effective, and now they're able to isolate the minion monster away from Adelante on the support, get a kill on that, and now Vibrian and Rip will be able to push the main team fight. This seems to be a very solid approach here from the serial killers in this game. A great start.
Absolutely, yeah. And, you know, I think they've really sort of learned from, you know, previously they don't want to just hard commit to a lot of these team fights until they're really forced to or until they completely feel comfortable doing so. They're really just going to try and rely on rotations, even with the added threat of Pain on this Thief. And as much as, you know, you're a fan of this build, and all right, I'll hold off that thought as a moment as Brian goes down. Nice fears coming out from Prototype, but unfortunately the Signet already interrupted on the stern. He is going to go for it a second time, though. Is he going to be able to get it? Yes, just barely able to get that Signet out. Glint Heal going to heal Brian back up full, and actually almost a triple cap here for Red Team, but middle node just barely able to be contested. Knockback here is good from Shuriken. For Brian now again going to be the target for this Blue team as he's getting chased down. Sword 3, they're going to keep him alive for a couple more seconds. Stern as well, peeling his Revenant out of danger for the time being. And again, the whole time we see this, Red team maintain a double cap. They will get decapped though, and Brian will fall, but they turn that single cap right back into a double cap, and they are very steadily moving ahead in this game. Like the you know, the little train that could, the little engine that could, just chugging along.
Yep, and Rip leaves that fight. Brian falling a little bit unfortunate for the serial killers, but Rip doesn't die and simply disengages. Now, both of the necromancers from the blue team are surging towards middle. I think we're going to have to see the serial killers leave this. They do not want to be here any longer, but they've actually gained themselves a pretty sizable lead. Now, when Brian comes back, they can re-push into the mansion. As long as they get a clean disengage here and don't commit too hard to this fight, I think the serial killers, despite having a lost player, are still in a great spot.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is, I know you're a fan of it. I'm not so much a fan of this SD build from Pain. I think the DP is just a little bit better when it comes to rotating around. Obviously, he might be able to find more value in a 1v1. He might be able to, find kills slightly faster. Maybe it's advantageous in a Thief 1v1, although obviously that's not relevant for this matchup right now. But I feel like one of the strengths we were seeing from Pain in the last set against the Azadome Academy was he was out-rotating every single time. There were very few times where Azadome was ahead of him, and there were very few times where his movements on the map didn't find value. Now, granted, it was different because they were ahead every single time he started rotating, but here I just feel like he's maybe limited a little bit more at the SD. That being said, it might not be completely on Pain this time. It might just be his team not able to really find the kills they normally look for. But Blam fell before. We do see Stern falling now. This could be the start of a snowball here for Blue Team if they can find some more kills. Prototype might not be long for this world, although Blam is rotating back in. We'll have Earth Shield available for his Necro. But 3 players here from Blue Team, they should be able to find a Necro kill.
Yeah, it's not going to be looking too good here for Prototype. He's going to get reaped and grenaded to death very shortly. No Earthshield's going to be enough there, unfortunately. And Blam also gets caught in the crossfire. We'll be able to go on node so he can die. I mean, Red Team going to afford a few losses here, particularly if they can maybe snag something here on mid. They're looking for Aeon. Aeon is actually very healthy, though, and probably has a good amount of life force, too. Yeah, even pops the Lich for the ultimate counter pressure. Good counteraction there from Brian and Stern. They're denying the projectiles and, of course, absorbing them for healing. But the Lich just keeps going, and unfortunately for Brian, takes a bit of a beating there, and we'll have to back off a little bit there before going back in. Pain gets this decap here as well. Rip does arrive, but a little bit too late there. Stern responds to that there as well, just to make sure that everything is looking good. Blam immediately is re-pushing there. He's going to go for Benzo there, and probably will have a pretty good time here. Like the build here from Benzo, not exactly a duelist as such, more of a Roma duelist team fight hybrid thing. I mean, engineer, it's a jack of all trades, master of some, a lot of the time. With what we have here, actually. And, well, now Red Team, they're in a bit of a predicament because there's a fortress being built on Midroy, and it's made out of minions. They need to find a way to climb those walls.
Yeah, or break them down, maybe. But, yeah, I mean, a couple of quick kills quickly turn into a very dominant map position, a very dominant match state for Blue Team. And this is where I do admit, I think the SD Thief is value for Pain. He's extremely difficult to lock down and kill. He's really able to, I think, leverage himself into 1v1s pretty significantly, more significantly than maybe he would be on a DP Thief, not just a decap build per se. And so, now that his team has found these pickups on the rest of the map, huge damage on Brian here from Pain. It's definitely working out in his favor. Before, I think maybe it wasn't so much. Now, I think, he is getting a lot of value from it. But Blue Team are going to have to repeat that because they've now gotten double capped again. Brian, though, will be the start of this fall for Red Team. If they can find this kill again, one more second to his glint heal, it's not going to happen. He's forced into Shiro. He's going to have to continue kiting. Stern and RF can't even go for the Signet. The Cleave probably will come out before he can find that Signet there. And yes, it will. So Brian will fall. Stern and Prototype now left alone, stranded here. Stern falls. Prototype not going to be far behind. A decap comes out onto middle node, but a decap for potentially 3 kills. It is not equal value as Aeon is going to be able to continue to contest this. She will not fall in time. Rip and Blam can't find the kill, I don't think. Pain there to peel for her. Oh, she does go down. Tornado actually does bring Aeon even farther away. Rip going for the blink stomp, and it's going to be good. That was actually a really nice bit of synergy there between those two teammates. You love to see it. Pain going to go for the decap. Rip hot on his tail. And respawn's coming through for Red Team will actually make this a little bit more difficult for Pain as well. So what started out to be a pretty, what could have been a dire situation, I think, for Red Team, they have brought it back. Aeon just maybe overstaying a little bit.
Yeah, the Red Team, the serial killers, they're kind of doing it, right? They were able to consistently split up the enemy team there pretty effectively. Like, even though they are having a bit of trouble in these fights, they're surviving long enough that they aren't falling behind. And if they can now convert this into a kill here and there, they're going to be in a great spot. That was a really good kill there from Rip once again. Of course, the Outcomped, Outskilled team, they are now fully re-established. So there is definitely this big moment where Red Team is going to have to try and find something to once again destabilize the game in their direction. And Prototype's very very pressured right now. I don't think he can really directly engage here. Stern also not having a good time. I think we need to see Red Team just leave this fight. It's not going to be a particularly good one if they stay here for too much longer. In fact, Prototype might die. The grenades. Benzo just going completely insane, throwing those grenades there. Prototype, 300 health, can't get his heal skill off there, and Benzo finds that kill. Yeah, for Brian and Stern die there, and Rip goes down too. Bane grabs that kill, I believe, kind of in a 1v1 there, or at least as Rip was disengaging the fight. Payne just picks it up with the Thief, and now, of course, Blam left alone on the map, the last man standing, but in a 1v3. Of course, he is next to his spawn, so if he can hold on, then he will be able to be reinforced by his teammates as they come back to life, but the lead that they built up in the early game is quickly vanishing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and you know, I think the only reason that Blue Team aren't ahead already is just because there was such a significant lead from Red Team. They had such a good start, but as soon as I think they actually, you know what, they did give Payne a little bit too much value on this SD build. I think they're fighting into it a bit too much. They're giving him a little bit too much value. Now Blam isolated from the rest of his team. Respawn's just now coming through. He is gonna be alive for now. Yep, he's gonna be okay, but the triple cap is gonna come out. Now the points in favor of Blue Team for the first time this game. And yeah, they've got to find an answer to this SD Thief. They've got to find a way to avoid getting picked off the way they are. But Brian, though, already beginning to look like he might be the next death here for this team. Pretty far away from his team. Does get back to Stern, does get back to Prototype, but he's already burned through a lot of his cooldowns. Stern already burned through a lot of cooldowns, keeping him alive. They haven't found pressure onto the rest of the team. They've basically lost a player just getting to the node, and Brian now maybe going to fall. Prototype popping the Lich to try and peel for him. But Blue Team, they are looking as healthy as ever. Payne porting in and out, finding this kill on Brian in just a moment. There he is going into downstate. Stern so low. He actually might go down before he can even look for a signal. RF going to be burned, and that's the kill confirmed as the side nodes continue to take the way of Blue Team. Yeah, Outcomped, Outskilled, looking like they might just repeat the first set here, taking game number 1.
Yeah, very strong performance. Stern goes down, and, well, with 150 points to go, this is a very strong moment to be taking control of the game for Outcomped, Outskilled. If they can just get themselves a 2-cap here, it will be very difficult, I think, for the serial killers to get back into it. I know it's a small point differential here, but again, it's going to be hard to actually crack that nut. Like, when Red Team is behind, they're really, really unhappy. It's going to be difficult for them to really stage any kind of comeback because it's going to take them a long time to do so, and it's time that they don't have. 4 minutes left on the clock right now. It seems that a lot of these games are going very, very close to the wire. Like, every team is completely giving it all to just make sure that they don't lose, right? You know, it's not about the art of winning. It's about the art of not losing and then trying to win from there. Aeon is down. That's a really nice kill. There's no resonance there. And if Atalante goes down here, this could be a big move here for the serial killers. And actually, oh no, but we have Prototype down here. And Benzo is actually going to stomp out there with the S. Atalante does not rally off that. Simply no real contact between those two players. However, just trading out right now is pretty good for the Blue Team. Like, it's not good enough for the serial killers to be on even terms. They want to be outnumbering. They want to be snowballing the map. And if they don't do that very, very soon, well, they're going to be staring down a 0-1 score in maps.
I think they could win off of double nodes, though. And they have the potential to find that. Brian, though, is going to be really pressured in Payne. I mean, the ability of this build to just kind of troll even in the midst of several Red Team players is actually very, very powerful. And that's going to just force them away. They do get the decap on a windmill, though, and that's actually probably more important. Really nice rotation there from Prototype. He realized that they were the Blue Team was trying to put pressure on the clock tower. They are going to trade node for node at this point, but that's worth it for them, especially because Red Team in a position actually to camp these respawns and stop them from moving back out into the map. Prototype as well could potentially look for a troll onto clock tower. Aeon going to go down. Is there a signet? There is. It's not going to be interrupted, so they will find that. Blam, unfortunately, not in a position to tornado there, and I think he got stuck on that pillar a little bit. So for Brian, now going to be the focus here for Blue Team as Aeon will go into Lich. They're still looking for the kill onto her, though. She is still very low, and obviously Signet already burned. That's going to be her Lich gone. That's going to be all her Shroud. Huge damage coming out from the Red Team. They're looking for another follow-up kill onto this Necron. They do find it for now. Hard res will be very difficult. Gornet doesn't have the potential to cleave this, and that's going to be a kill confirmed yet again. Gornet probably going to be the second death in this fight now. Healing Priest keeping a couple more moments, but it's not going to be enough. Payne coming in to try and peel for them, but Blam going to pour over to the node to make sure that doesn't get decapped. The res going to be good onto Gornet.
I don't believe it.
Get that hard res, but this is it. Red Team pulling it back, and they get the decap on a mid. Prototype. He is role-playing as a thief. Gornet almost certainly going to fall again. His heal skill going to be interrupted, and I think serial killers might be about to bring it back from the brink of
That
defeat.
is going to be a massive comeback there. What's all this stuff about Necro being overpowered, Roy? The serial killers just won a team fight, 0 Necros to 2. Prototype role-playing as a side noter while they beat down the enemy Necromancers. Just a masterful display of mechanics and focusing down targets there and just shutting down those Necromancers. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide from the Revenant, the Mirage, and the Weaver. And now the serial killers, they take their lead. And honestly, at this point, if I'm on the red team, I'm just thinking, right, run around in circles a little bit and wait for the game to end. Prototype doing exactly that. He knows that that windmill is the lifeline. It is going to make them win the game as long as his team can hold off a little bit on the mansion.
This is it. This team fight decides the game here, pretty much. Rip already very low for Brian, solo 2. He's isolated from the rest of his team. Stern, for some reason, was not in that fight the way that he should have been over Brian. The Signet's going to be on him, but it's not going to be enough through the poison. They have to go for a hard race here, but the decap comes out nonetheless.
Oh, no!
Brian's still going to be in downstate, and I do believe, Brian going to get cleaved out. They have to seed this node.
No.
They do get the decap on the middle node, though, but Payne will find a decap onto Windmill. It's going to come down to kills, potentially, as Blam blinks away, but he's going to be found. He will go downstate himself, and Serial Killers, they haven't won just yet. That's going to be side nodes for blue team.
They get mid.
Serial Killers, they have to cap mid. It's going to be 1 node to 2. They've swapped positions on the map here. Let's see if it's going to be enough for blue team. They're 20 points trailing. Double cap might be enough.
Double cap is a win for blue team, I think, actually. In fact, it is. Red team needs a decap, although they're going to lose by 1 point, Roy, if that happens, I believe. They need to neutralize. And Rip might have found it. No, he hasn't. Aeon, not even 1 kill. No team can lose a player. A kill on each side would end the game. Oh, no, I don't believe it. Surely not. I think we actually might be seeing a blue team win by 1 point, Roy. Although, actually, for Brian with a very aggressive rotation onto Aeon, she's got to hold on here. She cannot die. She can't concede the node. Adelanti moving over here as well.
It doesn't have to stabilize it.
I don't believe it.
Take it.
501. I can't believe it. Blue team wins. 501 to 500.
Unbelievable. 1 point at the end. That's it. And Teapot, that's only game number 1. We have 2 more potentially.